These are my waiver wire pickups and free agent acquisitions for week 3 of fantasy football. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. We have some pretty good waiver wire pickups for all the positions except running back. Not too many great running backs, but that's to be accepted. Still, we should be grateful we have some pretty good ads at all the other positions. Starting off with the top ads at quarterback, Josh Allen and Jimmy Garoppolo are basically tied. Both have good matchups, but I'm going to give the edge to Josh Allen because he's actually becoming a pretty consistent runner, jumping over defenders. He's strong. He gets a good amount of yards, good amount of touchdowns. They're kind of creative with their play calling, and these rushing stats are really huge bonus in most scoring formats. With Jimmy G, Minkah Fitzpatrick, the Steelers just traded for him, and he will be playing week 2, which actually gives them a boost. Even though he won't be too familiar with the defense, they need all the help they can get, and Minkah Fitzpatrick will help the Steelers secondary. Jacoby Brissett's playing a little bit better than I thought. Going against the Falcons could be a little bit of a shootout there, and Kirk Cousins has been worse than I thought. I knew this was going to be a run-heavy team. I knew the Vikings defense is always strong, but I didn't expect Kirk Cousins to look this bad. Obviously, he did have a tough matchup, and in week 1, he didn't need to throw the ball. He only needed to throw the ball 10 times against the Falcons because that game was pretty much won in the first half before it even hit halftime. So let's look at how he does week 3 against the Raiders. Much better matchup. Stafford going against the Eagles. This could be messy. This could be scary. But the Eagles, look, their defense on paper is amazing, but their secondary hasn't really stopped anybody in over a year. So he might be able to do some things. The Lions' run offense hasn't been as good and prolific as we thought. We thought they were going to be a super heavy run offense, but not getting a ton of yards on the ground. Stafford could air it out just a little bit. He actually does have 3 or 4 decent weapons in the pass game. Then we have Andy Dalton, who's, if not for Mahomes, will be leading the league in passing yards. What a big surprise. And there's actually a couple of more quarterbacks I do have on this list for this week, but Andy Dalton's to be trusted over those guys. He's a bit more proven. And then on top of that, on top of Boyd and Ross and Eifert and pass-catching running backs, we do have AJ Green, who could be coming back. Big question mark there. He's injury-prone, but still, if he can stay healthy, that's a huge boost to the Bengals and Andy Dalton fantasy owners. I want to give a huge shout-out to our sponsor of this video, Monkey Knife Fight. You can go ahead and head on over there and play some daily fantasy prop games. I usually hit up the over-under, and this week we're going to look at some quarterbacks that are actually on my waiver wire list. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo. I actually had him at 1, and then I was like, I'll move him down to number 2. So what do you guys think? Over under Jimmy G going against the Steelers, 280.5 pass yards. I see Jimmy G throwing around 240 to 290 passing yards. I know that's not really honing in a number, but I'm going to go under for Jimmy G. And as for Mason Rudolph, he's not to be trusted, and I don't see him having a great game necessarily, but the 49ers will have the lead, and I expect a ton of dump-offs, little dink and dunk passes to James Conner if he's healthy, Jalen Samuels, Vance McDonald. They'll try to get Juju involved underneath, and all it's going to take is one yak play. So I'm going over with Mason Rudolph. I see him getting about 240, 245 passing yards. I've been pretty good with my MKF picks so far, and you guys can enter contests like this one. Just head on over to monkeyknifefight.com or follow the link below in the description. Enter promo code COUCH when you deposit up to $50. You'll get 100% deposit match. It also really helps support this channel and is quite a bit of fun. So make sure you guys do check that out. Follow the link below in the description. Use promo code COUCH. Now back to the waivers. I have some more quarterbacks for those of you in super deep leagues and for those of you in super flex and dual quarterback leagues. Mason Rudolph, I really liked what he had to show. Now in general, okay, the big picture, Big Ben is is way better, then theoretically Mason Rudolph is a pretty significant drop off as far as fantasy value goes and as far as the Steelers offense. But when you're really looking at this year, Big Ben has actually been complete trash. We've only seen him in 5 quarters. Okay, he's a Hall of Famer. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, he's super talented. He's great, but he's getting older. He's banged up with that elbow. Something wasn't right. And so when Mason Rudolph came, it was quite a bit of a spark. Juju actually started putting up some numbers. So it's not the best case scenario. It is a bit unproven, but let's see what he can do. This matchup is not great, but like I said, I'm going over on MKF. I think he'll be okay. He's not terrible. And also I have him ranked a little bit higher maybe than some because Big Ben is for sure out the entire year. So you can stream Mason Rudolph and you can pick him up long term, especially in dual QB leagues. An absolute must pick up. I had such high hopes for Drew Brees, and I'm pretty disappointed and sad and just angry that he got injured, but it is what it is. This is football. Teddy Bridgewater came in and did not look good, but he didn't look bad either. Just stalled drives, just didn't finish it, didn't throw any touchdowns. You can just tell the difference between Brees and Bridgewater. But like I said, Bridgewater is not terrible. We're strictly in super deep league, dual QB league territory here. Like, we've been in that territory. Just to let you know, we've already entered that. Daniel Jones is the starter. Can't be any worse than Eli Manning. That's really all I got to say. Tampa Bay's defense has been a little bit better, especially their run defense. Let's see what they can do. And also keep tabs on Sterling Shepard. He was out week 2. Could be back week 3. Gardner Minshew, I still think he's a good quarterback. Maybe doesn't have that arm strength we like to see, and defenses know that. Unfortunately, he's got a bye week coming up, not too far out in the future, and he has some terrible matchups, including Thursday Night Football against the Titans. Titans should easily get that dub. Then we have Luke Falk, the third string quarterback, starting for the Jets. Trevor Simeon's done for the year. Darnold's going to be out a few weeks, and actually I think Luke Falk looked better than Simeon. The terrible matchup though, Patriots defense in Foxborough, not good. And weird one here, Cam is hurt, re-injured that foot injury. He's been reported that he's back in that walking boot. And Will Grier, I actually had him on this list, but turns out that Coach Ron Rivera said that Kyle Allen would be the starter if Cam were to miss time and not Will Grier. I'm a huge fan of Will Grier in the draft, but he's obviously not ready to start. So he's the third string quarterback behind Cam and Kyle Allen. Sorry for the long description and details, but hey, I'm trying to get everyone, and I know a lot of you do play in deep leagues and super flex leagues. Next position. Ooh, who do we have here? Oh, the same guy I told you guys to pick up. I told you Mostert runs hard, man. And he absolutely exploded week 2. He did amazing. I mean, who did? All 3 running backs absolutely just blew up week 2. All 3 Niners running backs against the Bengals. And Bengals are just one of those teams that on paper they do have some good players, but they can never put it together. Their kicker always sucks. They always consistently disappoint. And in close games, they always lose. And those are the bungles for you. So as long as Coleman is out, Raheem Mostert is a very intriguing. Now, I do have him number 1, but I'm not like super sold on starting him. I did start him in the one league. I did have him. I did end up starting him. Look, Breida is injury prone. Tevin Coleman's injury prone. And Tevin Coleman's likely going to miss this week and probably more weeks after this with that ankle injury. So Mostert, he's a running back. Like, we don't get a lot of running backs. Definitely pick him up. Kyle Shanahan's the truth. This Niners offense is pretty solid. And then we have Carlos Hyde, who's a pretty pedestrian, kind of similar to Lamar Miller as far as not being too exciting, probably even worse than Lamar Miller. but 20 carries last week is something to note. So we know Carlos Hyde is really the starter, I guess you can say. He's really the RB1. He's definitely the running back if the Texans have the lead or it's close. And Duke Johnson is definitely the PPR back, the pass catching back. Not saying that Duke sucks or anything. I guess I'm kind of saying both suck. Both Duke and Carlos Hyde are not ideal starts. But I also thought that Duke is picked up in all leagues, basically, and Hyde is kind of being disrespected by people not even rostering him. He should be rostered in more leagues. If you're in a 10-team league, maybe not. If you're in a 12-team league, definitely should be rostered. Then we have Frank Gore, who always has value, but especially has more value if Singletary is hurt. Right now, Singletary is day-to-day with a hamstring injury. And now things get really disgusting here. We have a Tampa Bay Bucks running back going against the Giants. Look, I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to pretend to know what's going on with the Bucks backfield. It's messy. All I know is that Peyton Barber put up some fantasy points week 2. I thought Rojo would get more work after seeing some promise week 1, but obviously not. Then we have Kalen Ballage. Now, guys, try not to throw up, okay? We have a Dolphins running back on here. But I believe the Drake trade rumors. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I believe that? He's injury prone. He has some talent. He can run and catch. I think teams would be interested in getting a guy like Drake and, trust the process, tanking for Tua, whatever you want to call it the Dolphins are doing, but it's getting gross. If they trade Drake, Kalen Ballage's value skyrockets. And Ito Smith has proven to be the RB2, and that's it. There's no more of a committee. There's no three-headed monster. Only a two-headed monster here with Ito Smith backing up the injury-prone Devontae Freeman, who's no longer really a workhorse. And Ito has looked good. He's not like amazing, not exciting, but he's definitely not looked bad. And when these Falcons score a lot of points and put up a lot of yards, starting Ito Smith when these bye weeks come back may not be that bad of an idea. Then we have, Chris Carson, who's just super talented, super amazing, could be the hardest runner in the league and can catch the ball. Just a great fit for the Seahawks, but has fumbled week 1, lost a fumble week 1, fumbled week 2, lost a fumble week 2, and Rashard Penny actually hasn't looked that bad when I seen him week 2, and let's see what happens, man. If Chris Carson fumbles one more time, I think Penny's value is going to skyrocket. Then we have Justin Jackson. I could rank Justin Jackson as high as number 1, actually. But I don't know. I guess I'm sad because I was pretty wrong on him. I thought he'd get a lot more work and get a lot more fantasy points, and I thought he was a better value, even though much more risky than Eckler. I was able to get Justin Jackson in round 9, 10, 11, sometimes even 12, while Austin Eckler was going in round 5 and 6. And so I was wrong. I'll admit it. But Jackson hasn't looked that bad. I just think Eckler is just much better, and he rightfully so deserves to be the RB1 while Melvin Gordon is not playing. But just to note this, he has averaged 8.9 yards per carry, and a little bit of fantasy football, I'd say about 20% of fantasy football is luck. Now, I see Justin Jackson having a great game in week 5. So if he can do it, in week 4, okay? But if Justin Jackson can make it happen week 3 and week 5 and string together 3 good games, that's going to be a great sell high candidate. So let's just hope he has a good game. All right, week 3, let's hope he has a good game week 4, and then he'll be a great sell high candidate. I still feel like he should be owned, and who knows what's going to happen with Melvin Gordon. He'll probably come back in a few weeks. He may not be the starter right away. He may be eased in. He may have a bad attitude and just not want to play, and let's see what the coaches do. Who knows what's going to happen there? He might get injured. A lot of things do happen when you've just been out of football and are holding out. It usually doesn't end well when you come back. Just a question mark is all I'm saying. Maybe Melvin Gordon comes back and just balls out for 8 to 9 weeks. I don't know. All I'm saying is question mark. Justin Jackson, worth an ad. He's a running back. Not too many running backs out there. James Conner is injured, but seems to be super minor. Expecting him to play week 3. Still, Jalen Samuels in deep PPR leagues, worth a look at. We also have Darwin Thompson, whose value could skyrocket if Shady and Damian Williams are hurt. Seems like both their injuries are minor. Shady's results came back negative. He should be fine. And let's see what's up with Damian Williams. No word on him yet. Justice Hill, I like him, but he's definitely a stash. I get that you're probably going to have to drop Justice Hill if he doesn't do anything and the bye weeks hit. But as far as week 3, maybe week 4, if you can hold on to him, might be a good idea. I still think he's talented and on a good offense. Ravens have a good offense, guys. More running backs. Jamal Williams, not that talented, but still got 5 carries week 1, got 9 carries week 2. Aaron Jones is the man. Aaron Jones got 23 carries week 2 and did very well against the Vikings. It's a very promising performance, but still you have Jamal Williams there. Then we have Ty Montgomery, Jalen Richard. Actually, Josh Jacobs has a groin injury. Don't know the severity at all with that. Jalen Richard could be a decent stash in PPR leagues. Then we have Darren Sproles. Remember, just about every Eagle got hurt in that Sunday night football game. My God. Wayne Gallman, the handcuff to Saquon Barkley. Benny Snell if James Conner were to miss any time. And DeAndre Washington if you're desperate and Josh Jacobs is out. Deebo Samuel is the wide receiver 1 on the 49ers, but don't have a lot of confidence. He is talented. I loved him going into the draft before he was even drafted on the 49ers. That's a great opportunity. He'll be starting. He'll be on a lot of snaps. He'll get a lot of targets. He'll be used a lot of different ways, don't get me wrong, and he should be owned in every league. Just saying, wait till Jalen Hurd comes back. Does Dante Pettis' role increase? Does Trent Taylor have, he hasn't played, is he going to have any value? So there's just some question marks there. That's all I'm saying, but he's still number 1 on my list. And a similar situation with Cutie. Don't have much confidence in him, but I do like him as a talent. Let's see what he can do. Not a guy you're going to start anytime soon, but maybe you get him as a free agent. Don't spend too much FAAB on him. I would spend some on Deebo Samuel, though. And then we have Terry McLaurin, who surprised me week 2 and actually followed up his performance and did pretty well. I like Mecole Hardman. I don't like Demarcus Robinson as much. Now, Demarcus Robinson could be balling out, but when Tyreek Hill comes back, I see his role decreasing significantly, and I see Hardman actually having a decent amount of snaps still when Tyreek Hill comes back in a few weeks. Preston Williams, the one kind of bright spot in Miami. Cole Beasley, excellent in PPR leagues, could be your wide receiver 5. DJ Chark, actually been the best wide receiver on the Jags. Nelson Aguilar is definitely worth an add if Alshon and Deshaun Jackson are both out. Chris Conley on the Jazz is super deep league territory. Randall Cobb because Michael Gallup is out for a few weeks. Then we have Damiere Byrd, who actually is getting a lot of snaps, a lot of targets. Got 7 targets week 1 and the same amount of targets week 2. Then we have Golden Tate, who's suspended but is coming back in a couple weeks. Trey Quinn, deep PPR leagues. Danny Amendola, definitely don't put in a claim for Amendola. He'll be dropped. Go get him as a free agent. And if you're in a deep league, then he might be worth a sneaky start because I see him having a good matchup against the Eagles. Should get some targets. A little bit more of a bold prediction there, not something that we're going to bank on and are really confident he's going to have a good game week 3. Because week 1 he did very well, week 2 he did nothing, and now I'm thinking week 3 he'll do something. Then we have James Washington, just because Moncrief is just so terrible. Like, I don't even know if that guy's going to play in the league next year. And Devin Smith of the Cowboys because Gallup is out. For tight ends, we actually have a few. Not great, but we do have a few. Will Dissly, I'm sick to my stomach because I did drop him in Dynasty. I can't believe I did that. I think that was a dumb move. Oh, man, because he had a poor performance week 1. I have Kittle, so I was like, I don't really need a tight end. But, man, I really should have stuck with him, especially in Dynasty. He's only a second-year player and absolutely balled out week 2. 5 targets, 5 receptions, 50 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wish I still had him. Then we have Tyler Eifert, the injury-prone Bengals tight end. Jordan Reed, who's even more injury-prone than Eifert, dare I say. He's still in concussion protocol, but has a good chance to play. Week 3, Chris Herndon, who's suspended, but guys like me who owned O.J. Howard definitely stash a guy like Herndon if there's no other options out there on waivers. It's your only hope. It's my only hope in the couch league. Hunter Henry, similar situation, very injury prone. He'll be back in like 4 weeks. I don't know what's up with that. Hopefully you got an IR spot, therefore doesn't waste too many bench spots because the bye weeks are going to be hidden. Noah Fant, he'll probably be a good tight end in 2 years, but this year he's just okay. He should keep improving. Denver's offense isn't that great, but still, like, it could be a lot worse. There's a couple teams that we know that are struggling way more at tight end and would be very grateful to have Noah Fant. Then we have Jason Witten, who doesn't have a lot of upside, but man, he's been getting touchdowns. He's actually got a pretty high floor. Jimmy Graham can't be trusted. Jack Doyle can't be trusted. And Njoku is in concussion protocol, so let's see what happens with him. Backup tight end on the Browns is Demetrius Harris, who is okay. Lots of defenses and kickers, and number 1, I added the Cowboys D ahead of time, knowing that they'll play the Dolphins. And I said this a couple times, I'll say it one more time. Go look at the Dolphins schedule, and now that Sam Darnold is out and Trevor Siemian is out, go look at the Jets schedule, look at teams like this, and go see who they're playing and pick up that defense ahead of time. You can afford to do this for sure, 100%, since the bye weeks haven't hit yet. So go add them. I got the Cowboys D. I think I got the Jets D in Dynasty. I got the Bills D. Patriots D. I bid heavily on them. And in the Couch Subscriber League, oh my God, the Patriots D got me so many points and helped me win week 2. If not for them, I would have definitely lost. And so, Cowboys D must start. They're going to be balling. They're going to go crazy against the Dolphins week 3. Absolutely amazing. High floor, high ceiling. This will get you the dub for week 3. That's the type of defense we're talking about, just like the Patriots and Ravens did the last 2 weeks. Packers D, dare I say, is elite, going against the Broncos, who don't get a ton of yards, who don't get a ton of touchdowns, and Flacco's not that good. 49ers and Bills were tied. We got another 49ers tie here. And I'm going with the edge to the 49ers just because we have Mason Rudolph starting. James Conner is not 100%. So on and so forth. A lot of things can happen. And then I got the Bills, it's almost a tie, guys. And then the Bills at number 4 going against the Bengals. Seahawks are going against Bridgewater. At home in Seattle, Titans going against the Jags. Super low scoring game. Titans should win by a field goal here. Bucks going against Daniel Jones. Cardinals defense is not good, but there is some upside here. Definitely a lot of risk. But what's going on with Cam and what's going on with their QB situation? What's going on with that entire offense? A lot of risk, low floor, high upside. Then we have the Eagles going against the Lions. Lions going against the Eagles. And I have this here because the Lions defense is not too bad. And Eagles are really banged up, like Clement, Alshon, Deshaun Jackson. I know I'm forgetting more names. Goddard, is he hurt? Like, there's so many injuries to that Eagles team. It was pretty nuts. A lot of injuries happened week 2 as well to a lot of other teams. So keep tabs on those injuries. Lions D really only in deep leagues. And then we have Falcons D going against Brissett. They're ranked super low. This should be a good amount of scoring in this game. And then the Giants D going against the Bucks. And this is really only for 16-team leagues and 20-team leagues. You don't ever want to start the Giants D. But the Bucks have known to make mistakes. And Jameis Winston has been known to turn the ball over. So I did want to have him here for those of you in those super deep leagues. Lots of really good kickers. I'm pretty confident. I'm extremely confident with these kickers this week, and I'll go over some of the top ones and skim through the end. Brett Maher, Cowboys D, look, they're going to have a lead. They're going to settle for field goals. They're going to be in the red zone. They're going to run the ball. Should be a ton of opportunities for him. I see at least 5 made field goals or extra points for the Cowboys kicker. Mason Crosby, they're at home. They're going to be in the red zone. They're going to settle for field goals. It's going to be a great game. I just need Crosby to be accurate. Great matchup. Jake Elliott, accurate kicker, good matchup. Jason Myers going against Bridgewater should be very good. He's very accurate as well. And then Steven Hauschka has been 100% from field goals and extra points so far this year. Good matchup against the Bengals. Matt Bryant, he still got it. Matt Gay going against the Giants, that's okay right there. Zane Gonzalez is very risky, kind of like the defense, so not one that you want to trust, but one that does have some upside. And then we have Cairo Santos. Now, he is more reliable, I'd say, than Zane Gonzalez. But Zane Gonzalez could, like I said, have a really high floor, could kick 4 or 5 field goals. Actually, we can even swap, though. I can put Zane Gonzalez down 1 spot and Cairo Santos up. But these games are just weird. We got a Minshew, we got Jaguars. It's an away game. It's so weird. We'll leave Cairo Santos at number 9. Then we have Dan Bailey going against the Raiders. Should be a lot of opportunities for him. Eddie Pinheiro, he's the truth, but I need this Bears offense to do something more, man. Like, this is just ridiculous. Trubisky and Nagy got to do something. And in deeper leagues, we have Matt Prater going against the Eagles. Aldrich Rosas, very accurate kicker, going against the Bucks. Austin Seibert going against the Rams. And Joey Sly going against the Cardinals. Make sure you guys head on over to monkeyknifefight.com or just follow the link below in the description. Use promo code COUCH. They have fantasy prop games for Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Go ahead and play on there. It really helps support the channel as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch. We also have a second YouTube channel. Subscribe to that as well, Fantasy Couch Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, hit it up with a thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next video / live stream.